Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Learn English with Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Laura. Today's episode is all about how to think in English. This is something that many learners dream of achieving, but it can seem difficult or even impossible at first.
That's true. But we're here to tell you that it is possible, and with consistent effort, you'll get there. Let's start by diving into what it actually means to think in English.
And don't forget, we've prepared a PDF for this episode full of useful tips and vocabulary to help with your learning. You can find it on our Telegram channel. We left the link in the description. When you think in English, it means your brain processes ideas, sentences, and thoughts directly in the language without translating from your native tongue.
Right. It's like when you hear the word apple, you immediately imagine a red or green fruit. You don't think, oh, in my language, this is called XYZ.
And that's the goal, to connect English words and phrases directly to their meanings in your mind, instead of linking them to your native language.
Thinking in English helps you become a more fluent speaker because it removes the delay caused by translation.
It also makes conversations feel more natural. For example, when someone asks you a question, you can respond immediately without pausing to translate.
Plus, it improves your listening skills. If you're constantly translating, you might miss parts of the conversation while your brain is stuck on a single word or phrase.
And let's not forget confidence. When you start thinking in English, you'll feel more confident using the language because it will feel like second nature.
Okay, now that we've covered the why, let's talk about how. We'll break it down into easy steps that anyone can follow.
The first step is to improve your vocabulary. After all, you can't think in English if you don't know the words to express your thoughts.
But don't just memorize long lists of words. Instead, focus on the words you use daily. For example, learn words related to your job, hobbies, or routines.
And remember, context is key. Learn words and phrases or sentences. For example, instead of just learning the word eat, learn phrases like, I'm eating breakfast, or what do you want to eat?
Don't try to think in long, complex sentences right away. Start with simple thoughts. For example, when you wake up, think, it's a sunny day, or I need to brush my teeth.
Exactly. These small sentences will train your brain to get comfortable using English for everyday tasks.
Here's a fun tip. Use visual cues to help you think in English. For example, if you see a car, think, that's a blue car. It's driving fast.
Or if you're in the kitchen, think, I need a knife to cut this apple. The idea is to associate the English words directly with what you see. A great habit is to narrate your day in English. Pretend you're a storyteller. For example, say to yourself, now I'm making tea. The water is boiling. I'll add some sugar.
And if you don't know a word, don't worry. Use simpler language. For example, if you forget the word kettle, you can say, the thing I use to boil water.
Thinking aloud is a powerful way to train your brain. You can do this when you're alone. Just talk to yourself in English.
For instance, if you're driving, say out loud, the traffic is heavy today. I think I'll take a different route.
It might feel awkward at first, but trust us, it works.
Now, here's an advanced tip. Create imaginary conversations or scenarios. For example, imagine you're ordering food at a restaurant. Excuse me, can I have a coffee and a sandwich, please?
Or imagine you're at the airport. Where is the check-in counter? These exercises prepare you for real-life situations.
Immersing yourself in English media is crucial. Watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, or read books in English.
And here's a tip. Try to summarize what you just watched or read in English. For example, if you watch a movie, think, the main character was brave. He saved his friends from danger.
Let's be honest, Laura thinking in English isn't easy, especially in the beginning. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck?
I'd say, don't be too hard on yourself. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes. The goal is progress, not perfection.
That's right. And if you get stuck, try using simpler words or gestures. The more you practice, the less you'll feel stuck over time.
Did you know, Chris, that our brains are wired to adapt? The more you expose yourself to English, the more your brain creates pathways to process the language faster.
That's fascinating. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And studies show that immersing yourself in a language, whether by speaking, listening, or thinking, rewires your brain to think in that language naturally.
Before we wrap up, let's share some motivation. Learning to think in English can feel slow, but every small step counts.
Yes, celebrate small wins, like forming a single thought in English without translating. Those moments show that you're improving.
And remember, every expert was once a beginner. Thinking in English is a skill, and with patience and practice, you'll get there.
Let's do a quick recap of some useful words we talked about today. Fluency, the ability to speak or write a language easily and accurately. Example, improving your fluency in English requires regular practice and exposure to the language.
Immersion, the state of being completely involved in a language or culture. Example, traveling to an English-speaking country can give you full immersion in the language.
Narrate, to describe events or actions in a spoken or written form. Example, try to narrate your daily activities in English to improve your thinking skills.
Context, the situation or background in which a word, phrase, or event is used. Example, learning words in context helps you remember them more effectively.
Translate, to express the meaning of words or text in another language. Example, stop translating sentences in your head and try to think directly in English.
Repetition, the action of repeating something for practice or learning. Example, repetition of common phrases can help you build confidence when thinking in English. So we decided to give you grammar tests to improve your grammar level.
To sum up, start small with simple sentences. Immerse yourself in English and practice daily habits like narrating your day or creating imaginary conversations.
Be consistent, enjoy the process, and don't forget to celebrate your progress.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening to Learn English with Podcast.
See you next time. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be thinking in English like a pro.
Bye for now.